Elon bought, or he thought he bought, a lot of space and room in the United States government. That's what I believe. That's what he was thinking, right? And that's not to say he already had, because he had a lot of power already. But I think he was still expecting more. Egos clash. You know, his son's saying that that Donald Trump is not even the president while he's getting interviewed and shit. Like you hear the kid saying some stuff. He's showing up with a black eye. Like when egos start clashing, especially Donald Trump and Elon's, then you start seeing things on Twitter like, "Hey, he's in the Epstein files." You know, which let me say one thing because I know everybody's gonna be jumping on Elon's bandwagon, like, oh look, see, he's telling the truth about you guys. Look. Elon knew the whole time. If you believe that he just decided to say this now because he didn't know, he just found out. Get the fuck. Look, they fought, and Elon was like, you know what? I'm gonna start talking shit. Yeah, you were on the list. That's why you don't want to release them. You know what I'm saying? That's
It's like a bad break. It's like a bad breakup, man. Like
yeah,
two butt buddies that just said "fuck you" to one another at the end of the day. What
yeah.
I think Elon's really mad about is the EV tax breaks that they took away from the one big beautiful bill.
Yeah, that bill. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so I started like feeling into the one big beautiful bill, and yeah,
It's a
it's
bad
like
bill,
it
from what
the
I
like
heard, especially
so
for small businesses. That's what I heard.
so can we actually I have, by the way, I have my producer on the back end. He could pull stuff up if you want him to, you know, pull stuff up, videos, articles.
Absolutely. Hey, if the interview goes
Feel
this
free.
way, sure, man. Sure, of course.
Yeah. Feel free.
Mm-hmm.
DJ, can you pull up the one big beautiful bill? Because, dude, Miguel, I was looking through this bill, and I was just reading through it.
Yeah.
It does they do say like it's estimated to add to the debt, to the national debt, which is already ballooning, as we know, right? It's a big problem that we have in America. It's like at $45 trillion. And we're
Right.
like, yo, we're going into this massive debt spiral. Like it's
Right.
one of the most obvious things headed our way. We got to take care of that. And I think this bill is, you're saying it's a bad bill because it adds to that debt, right?
Well,
It just
I'm.
makes it worse
It seems
and
like
it's bad for businesses.
I'm here. What I've again, this is brand new. You're talking about like what was this a couple days ago, right? So
Yeah.
from what I've gathered in those couple of days, because we all have lives and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's another pro big corp bill while shitting on the common small businessman. So it's not even just the small man anymore. Now it's the small businessman as well. So that
Mm,
means if you put your bootstraps up, you do what you were supposed to do, you
yeah.
go, you forget about all the bullshit, you get a license for a business, and that's what happened. That's what I'm hearing.
Okay,
Which they
so
always kind of every bill. This isn't new. Attacking the
yeah.
small businessman is not something that's
So this is from 3 days ago. This is breaking down the one big beautiful bill. All right, let's go through this. So the House of Representatives fiscal year 2025 reconciliation bill
hold on. Was
titled the
that a
one
Donald
big
Trump impression you just did right there?
that was it was the
All right.
worst impression. It was because he does this shit with his hands, right?
Let's hear it
Um
again.
the House of Representatives. No, I'm not doing it. Titled the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of
Yeah.
2025 would add 2.4 trillion to the primary deficit over the coming decade, adding 3 trillion to the debt, including interest. So to what we were talking about, it's going to add to that debt. It's going to make it
Right.
worse. It's a it is temporary provision are ex if its temporary provisions are extended without offsets, we estimate it would add 5 trillion to the debt, including interest. Yeah, I mean, that's not good. We shouldn't be adding to it, but I will say these are estimates. So, okay, the
Oh, here's
table
a
below
breakdown.
is a comprehensive tally of each provision, including the respective committee bills that makes up the OBBA, along with a deficit impact estimates from Congressional Budget Office. This table will be updated with if additional changes are made. Okay, so on the left we have provisions. So these are all the stuff they're making changes to, and the
Yeah.
right deficit increases. So whatever you're seeing in red is an increase, and the one you're seeing in gray is a decrease. So Ways and Means Committee extend and expand rate cuts of 2.2, let's just say $2.2 billion. So it looks like they're giving more money and extending rate cuts, which is stimulating to the economy. And then it says extend AMT repeal for taxpayers with income below 1 million. So giving more money to people who are make under $1 million, which is a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Um, yeah, extend and expand standard deduction hikes. I don't know what that is. I don't know what
Now
that
we
means.
need a more specific breakdown of this. A lot of the times they just hide things behind words. And
Yeah,
I don't mean that to sound like we're not intelligent enough to make it
to
out,
know what.
but
Yeah,
we need
yeah,
detailed specifics of things a lot of the times. I'm not yelling at this. I'm just saying
yeah.
a lot of the time, whether it's the media or the government giving out the information, they make it
Oh,
complicated on purpose.
I agree, dude. I think anytime people look at this kind of information, take it with a grain of salt, especially when it comes with to government giving out data and numbers.
Right.
If they say it's, we owe someone 10 trillion, I think it's more like always 15 or 20. Okay.
Exactly.
Can we go down a little more? This is where I thought this is what really pissed Elon off. This is what I think, Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
DJ, can you scroll down a little more? A little more, please. Oh, there's the no tax on tips. Okay, through 2028. So, okay, okay. So that's
40
giving
billion.
more, yeah, giving more money to the, I guess, the average everyday person who works um, in hospitality and the
Scholarship
food
tax
business.
credit. Hmm.
Yeah, no tax on car loans. Can you scroll a little more down, DJ? Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay, there's the repeal EV tax credits. So I think this is what really pissed Elon off, that first line item of $191 billion, because they're taking away. So I don't, did you hear about this? Now, I don't know how
From
true
his
this is
business,
because,
right?
yeah, so Tesla. So what I hear like a lot of these analysts talk about, like who study like the Tesla business
Yeah.
model. So these guys on Wall Street, they say Tesla is only profitable because of these EV credits. Because what they do is then they go ahead and turn these credits and they sell them to other EV
That's right.
makers for even more profit. And that's what's giving them more cash flow to their business. And now if that's being taken away,
Mm-hmm.
Tesla needs to rethink their models. Um, but yeah, anyway, so I think that's what really ticked Elon off personally. Um, I think he was really pissed off about that. He thought, Trump was gonna, you know, one
Hook him
hand
up.
washes the other. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Thanks,
Right.
DJ. Appreciate it.
Right. Well, and you can
Uh,
see right there in broad as day how many ways these people make money. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? It's profit revenue is just one part of the game. You start seeing things like credits getting thrown in and how much they make sales off that. Then it's like, oh, wait a minute. How much do you have really? And now we got crypto. I'm a big crypto guy.
okay,
Elon coming into the crypto space was kind of cool in the beginning, but then him making himself trying to make himself the face of crypto. He
yeah,
he names the department Doge, which is obviously a play on trying to get that Dogecoin pumping and stuff.
right, right, right.
The whole thing was ridiculous to me because I come from a space, and I might, if there's anybody listening right now that's into crypto and they're in the ETFs and now they're pro government getting involved and all that good stuff. That was never the point of Bitcoin. Go back, Satoshi Nakamoto. Look at the white papers. It will tell you that is born and bred and designed to be decentralized.
Right.
Always, no matter what, you can try to buy more of it than the other person, whatever, but there was always a mechanism to try to, and it'll always be blockchain, no matter what you do to it. They try to initiate all these different changes to it, and it's like, hey, look, at the root, Bitcoin is solid and it will never be fucked with, in my opinion. But we do have market manipulation. I don't know if you noticed Elon and Trump uh, having a little tit brought the price of Bitcoin down. The
Yeah.
whole market
Dude,
went down.
dude, I was
So
laughing. I tweeted that okay, here comes the recession because everybody's been waiting for like, oh, what are the recession indicators and when is this recession going to happen? Because we are seeing like consumer uh growth slowing down. So I'm like, was this it? Is this the
I know,
recession?
right?
Is there
Oh
is
my
is there
god.
breakup? is their breakup like gonna, cause a recession? But dude, going back to crypto, I don't.
Man.
Yeah, I struggle with crypto. I don't really understand it. To your point, they say it's supposed to be decentralized, but then
Yeah.
it's like, how is it decentralized if now BlackRock is involved and
Hmm.
all these other companies are involved where they're housing Bitcoin and you buy it through them?
No, no, no. So there's
Uh,
many ways. There's many ways to buy Bitcoin. I don't want to
okay.
get too complicated with it.
Yeah,
But put it this
sure,
way:
sure.
me and you could sit down. I can create a Bitcoin wallet for you right now. Send you $20 or $2 million right now.
Hmm.
Nobody knows nothing. There's no the only thing that we pay is the fees. That's it. Unless you give out a long string of letters and numbers, which they call your wallet address, right? You would give me your
Hmm.
wallet address. I'd give you mine. You ask for whatever. Boom, boom, boom. And we can even dictate the price of the Bitcoin that I'm sending to you. Like, let's say this is what the big corporation. This is how BlackRock and them really buy all the Bitcoin. To be honest with you, they don't go to Coinbase. I don't know if you know about Coinbase and Crypto.com. They're like probably the two biggest crypto exchanges. They're not
Yeah.
the big corporations aren't going there to buy the crypto. What they're doing is going to certain underground markets for Bitcoin that do OTC transactions, over the counter
Over the
transactions.
counter
Right.
transactions. Yeah, I've
They
heard
have
those.
their
Yeah.
own personal exchanges. If Bitcoin is at 90,000 right now, but me and you are friends, I'm going to send it to you for 75,000. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I could dictate the price to you, boom. And nobody, aside from if we knew what the wallet address was, because then you and I could look it up. If we don't know those wallet addresses, those are pretty much invisible transactions. All you're paying is the fees from me sending it to you. You can buy a Bitcoin miner, which I have a couple, some are hosted in an offsite, and generate your own Bitcoin. And again, unless you reveal the wallet address, nobody knows nothing. So, and this can all happen without being involved with BlackRock, without all these public exchanges. So I'm just that's just one way
Yeah.
about how you can decentralize it. You could even run your own Bitcoin node at home, have your own copy of the blockchain. You can have your own wallet address on a piece of paper that no one has access to except you. Put it in the safe for 100 years, and no one will ever be able to get into that wallet without that piece of paper. So these are
My
just some
my
ways.
friend has some cryptocurrency and he has it on a USB
Yeah.
and he was like, I keep it here for whatever reason. I'm like, all right, bro.
Yeah. There's a couple. I have one right here too. There's cards now. Like it used to be, dude. I
I'm like,
started in crypto.
as long as you're making money, I'm like, I don't what good for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These,
that's that
yeah.
he's got something like that. He's got something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. These, now they
So
have
what do
cards.
you got, like $1 million in there?
Nah, I wish, bro.
USB?
I
But
wish.
that's the thing. So like if you lose that USB, what happens then?
So every wallet has either a seed phrase, which is of just a
Hmm.
bunch of letters and numbers, or like words. So it'll be like 15 random words. As
Okay.
long as you have a copy of those 15 random words, or you can memorize them if you're a psychopath, you will always be able to recover them shits. Some
Yeah.
have 22 words. It gets crazy. It depends on which
Yeah.
which crypto you're working with because there's a bunch. But
S-
I'm sorry if I'm geeking out on crypto, bro. This is what I do.
No,
But
no, no. That's fine. That's amazing, dude. I love learning new shit like that. So you were talking about Elon and him tweeting the stuff out with Epstein, and I think he reposted a video of like Donald Trump in the '90s at
hanging
a
out with
party
them.
with that. With, but see, let me ask you this: what are your personal views on that? Do you think he's involved? Do you think Trump was involved with Epstein? Because I don't think just because I don't think you're not guilty by association. Okay,
No, absolutely not.
that's where I stand.
No, you're right. You're 1,000% right, and you're actually looking at it as a the most
At,
mature way to look at it is that
at
way.
a practical level,
Yeah,
I think I'm looking at it practically. Like if you see
yeah.
the cameras, and I think that CBS. You know what, DJ? Can we pull that a video up, with the video that Elon retweeted with Donald Trump at a party and where Epstein walks in and I think the CNBC folks were, in the
It's such a
party
weird clip
recording
too
it.
because the light is right
Yeah.
on them. It's
Yeah.
such a weird clip, right?
And they're talking about girls. Like, oh,
Yeah,
look at that one. Look at the tits are
yeah.
on that one.
And then Trump is like dancing. Yo, look, man. God,
He's
I'll wait
slapping
till
ass. He's
I,
slapping ass. Did you see him? Just
yeah. I'll wait. I'll wait till he pulls up the clip. I'll tell you about how I feel about Donald Trump overall because it influences how I see that clip. Yeah, put that full screen.
Attention. Donald! 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 The footage, shot in November of 1992, before Trump opened the resort as a club, shows the future president surrounded by cheerleaders for the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, capturing Trump's fun-loving bachelor lifestyle for an appearance on Faith Daniels' NBC talk show.
We're going to get great ratings in your show.
Trump is surrounded by women as music blares in the background. After a while, Trump goes to greet 3 new guests, among them the financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Come on in. Go inside.
Who's the other guy?
More than a decade before his guilty plea on state prostitution charges. Later in the footage, Trump is seen talking to Epstein and another man as women are dancing in front of them. Trump alternates between dancing and pointing out women to Epstein and the other man and telling Epstein about the cameras. Though exactly what they say is difficult to understand as they discuss the women and their appearances, Trump gestures to one and appears to say to Epstein, "Look at her back there. She's hot." And then Trump says something else into Epstein's ear that makes him double over with laughter. But as the president said,
Made him double over with laughter. Was that it?
That was it. What do you make of that video? What do you think?
So look, I'm born and raised Jersey City, New Jersey, right? I've been here my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in the 80s. I remember as a child here because I lived by, if you know where Jersey City is, the Heights. There's a high school in Jersey City Heights called Dickinson High School. Next to Dickinson High School, right off Palisades, there's a hill that goes down into Hoboken. Now it's, I think, condos and shit, but there used to be a chocolate factory there. They used to call it Chocolate Hill, right? At the bottom of Chocolate Hill, past the chocolate factory, was, I don't know if it was just Jersey City or Hudson County, but that's where all the trash trucks and, you know, all the waste, they used to, that was like
sanitation.
their center. Yeah, sanitation spot, whatever. So when I was a kid, I would hear all the time from my friends, various people around, yo, Trump is down there. Trump works with the people that are there, right? Later on, I find out they're all mobsters. And this is like common knowledge. Everybody knows that the mob was very into the sanitation departments, the police departments in certain spots too in Hoboken. It's well known. So already I knew, oh, this guy's, which I thought was regular business practice for most corrupt politicians. You got to be down with either the gangs or the mob. Like I grew up thinking that. I thought they were all in cahoots. And to even into adulthood, I still kind of believe that. I still kind of believe all these politicians have gangs on the payroll, whether in this country or in other countries. But I don't want to, get into that. Well, anyway, so I started hearing about that first. Oh shit, Donald Trump is down with the mob out here. This is wild. He's a real hustler. Boom, boom. Central Park 6
5.
situation.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Is it 5? I think 6.
I thought it was.
I could be misquoting that. I could have just fucked that up.
I think you're right.
For those that aren't aware, please Google it. I don't want to get into it too much, but he basically falsely accused these guys of raping a woman. I think she was a jogger in Central Park.
Yeah.
Made it like his fucking life mission to make sure that these guys got imprisoned, and it was all bullshit. Okay.
And we're talking about teenagers. These were 16-year-old teenagers. 15, 16.
Right. This is all way before the political man who was Donald Trump that you see now. I'm talking about this is how he became the person that he was. Then you hear about the bankruptcies. Then you start hearing about, then you see, not even hearing about it. You can see when he goes to Congress, I believe it was Congress, and starts talking about how these people aren't even Native Americans because there was something going on at the time where they're being granted land, I believe, for some sort of development that they were in the process of doing. Donald Trump, of course, was against it. He was telling them like it was a joke. You don't even look like Native American. You don't even look like Indians. Like it was a joke. So slowly throughout time, then the stories of his casinos, we could get into that too. But then I see the clip, right? We'll get to that right there. So this is like lifelong me having an opinion of who Donald Trump was. Also on the Howard Stern show, which I used to watch Howard Stern a lot. He would just constantly go on there and be this ultimate womanizer, bringing his kids out there, flaunting them like they're, I don't know. It just looked wrong. I always thought he was kind of a weird guy because he would kind of be flaunting his daughter to Howard, which was fucking weird. So I see that clip, right? We already knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. We see the type of person Donald Trump is. I immediately thought, okay, money, right? The first thing I saw was the clip. I didn't look into anything else. I'm like, okay, look, this, I don't know if Trump is a pedophile. I don't know if he's into that sort of thing. I don't think so because he seems more of like, we have to pick and choose in life, in my opinion, the type of scumbags that we, like you're that type of scumbag, just like that. You're that type of person. You're that type of good person. You're that type of piece of shit. You're that type of scumbag. I didn't see him as that type of scumbag, like a pedophile scumbag. I saw him as a scumbag, but not that type. Then the flight logs. You start looking at the flight logs. It's like, okay, how many times has he been on here? Not 1, 2, 3, no, 7. Okay. With Bill Clinton? All right. That's a little weird. Then you start looking at how many times he's been to Trump's properties. And then, so long story short, do I believe Donald Trump was involved in those activities with Jeffrey Epstein? 1,000%. Do I have to can I say that we have the proof of that right now? That's I don't think we do. So people who are watching that clip, I don't think you should just use that and be like, oh, look, there he is being a pedophile. Just because he's there next to him.
It doesn't make right. It doesn't make you guilty by association. Yeah, you said a lot there, man.
Sorry.
So no, you're good. This is what we're here for 2 hours. We're gonna yap for a minute. So I studied the Central Park 6 case 7, 8 years ago when I was in college. It just came up in one of my law classes, and yeah, he was for the death penalty for these 15, 16-year-old kids.
Wanted to kill them.
So look, this is where I struggle with this, man. By that time, they already had pleaded guilty. And so the common knowledge among everybody in 1989 when this happened was the kids had pleaded guilty to doing it, to killing her, to raping and killing her. And everybody was like, okay, let's lock him up, let's put him away, give him the death penalty. And so that was common. That was what just the vibes were. And that's when New York City at the time, it was at the peak of crime. There's a massive
Central
crime
Park was crazy.
Just in general, the crime was sky high in the 90s in New York City. So people wanted to take extreme measures to make sure this never happens again. So first, I don't blame him for what he said because one, I think because they had pleaded guilty. The only reason we found out that these kids were found not guilty years later is because some guy in prison said, oh no, they didn't do this, I did it. And he comes out and says, and by that time, these kids were already like, I think, grown men in prison. It was like 10, 15, 20 years that spent in
Let's
prison.
not forget that they were kind of coerced into claiming guilty.
Yes. They were right. These are the issues we have in police system nowadays.
Right. They were threatened that if they didn't, it would be an even worse case for them.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I mean. And those are some of the issues we've had. And I think to some degree, we still have these issues and with police kind of coercing people to plead guilty when really all you need to do if you're just aware of the law, just keep your fucking mouth shut and let the lawyers handle this stuff.
You know what is the best place for people to learn more about that? Like interactions with police. I'm going to big up a YouTube channel, bro. If you guys are bored later, trust me. Some of this shit is hilarious. Some of this shit isn't. It's cops though. It's body cam. I
love Cops. That's such a great show. Great
Midwest. There's show. There's a bunch.
They violate every single law.
Yeah, and it's both. Sometimes the cops fuck up, and then you see the people fuck up too, and it's like, holy shit! Like, there's this one called Midwest Safety. It's a YouTube channel. It's all police body cam footage. And if anybody had any questions on how to properly interact with police and what to do wrong, watch that channel. Especially if the police is the aggressor, if the policeman is the aggressor, or if you're an officer. I believe if you're an officer too, you want to. There's people are wilding the fuck out. Watch what happens when just so you're better prepared for the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I train with certain police. I train jujitsu it's been a couple of years, right? So there's police that show up there and way bigger than me, way stronger than me.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to big myself up. I'm not that dude. But let's just say it's not they can't compete, and it's because they're not properly prepared. I think everybody who's in law enforcement should have some sort of base training in
Yeah.
grappling, probably some sort of striking as well, defusing situations and stuff like that. But it's like I don't know. It's just something that I believe.
Did you
You
pin
know,
did you pin them? Did you pin these guys? Is that what you were saying? You got them
uh,
in armbar?
more than once. They're nice guys though. They're nice guys,
Yeah.
man. They're
Yeah.
really nice dudes. Trust me, I'm not that dude that be like, oh, I fucked them up and blah blah blah. Because sometimes you're a saying, and I think I don't know if this started in jujitsu, but it's a saying that can be applied to life as well. Sometimes you're the hammer, and sometimes you're the nail. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I've gone to the
Yeah.
gym on bad days, and it's like fuck. But yeah, yeah, man. I just think everybody should. But Midwest Safety, watch it, and then it'll link you to other body cam footage websites. I mean, channels. It's fucking great, man. I love it. It's also sad too,
Okay.
but
Yeah. So that's where I stand on the Central Park 6
yeah,
case. I think people blow that out of proportion. Personally, that's just what I believe for Donald. In terms of his businesses failing, dude, I mean, any successful person, I think if you ask them about a business, I'm
mm-hmm.
sure they've had ups and downs and failures in business. Like I
Yeah.
remember starting two
I
companies
don't.
before
Just so we're
this,
clear,
and
I don't think
it,
him failing businesses. Like, of course, that happens. I'm talking
yeah,
about how he operated the business. That's the parts where I was
mm,
shady, like being in tune with the streets. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, oh shit, all right, that's. And I mean the streets. That's the
yeah,
only thing. His business, him being a businessman, like kudos to him. Salute.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He apparently, you know, that daddy money didn't help him out too much in the beginning. He made a lot of his own. You know, you got to give him
I
some
think
sort of credit.
I think he said like, oh, my father gave me a small loan with $1 million. I was like,
Yeah,
dude, a small loan of one
exactly.
million dollars.
Yeah, right. Like that's nothing.
Like,
It
dude, $1 million
it,
is a lot of money.
it kind of shows how his world
Out
was
of
at the time.
touch.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
yeah,
it kind of shows like how people who are wealthy just are so out of touch
right.
with the average American. Like who are like a small loan of $1 million.
I love them. Those people they're like children. They don't know how to treat me. It's weird. I don't know. It's just a weird. Like I've been around a lot of people. I used to work on Wall Street years ago, not on the
Hmm.
stock exchange, but
Hmm.
in a building on the actual Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
And there was a lot of people like that over there, and they would just like try to have a regular conversation with me, and it would be such a struggle. And I would just be like, I would just make jokes because I'd feel bad at the time. You know, I don't want anybody to feel
Yeah.
uncomfortable. You may be a piece of
Right.
shit, but unless you treat me like a piece of shit, we're gonna be cool, you know. So they wouldn't say anything stupid to me. So I would just be like, hey, you know, I would just make a joke and just like, I don't know.
Dude, it's that's so funny. Me and my producer we were conversing right before this, and we were talking about something
Yeah.
similar. I told him that, you know what the issue with these Wall Street dudes are? They're just a bunch of stiffs.
Yeah.
They're just so
Yeah.
stiff. And it's just
Yeah.
because of their corporate work life culture. Like they don't, it's like this person is trying to make a connection with you and just connect on a human level.
Yeah. They can't stop talking about work. They just keep
Yeah,
regurgitating work stuff. And let me tell you something, a lot of those people, right? Because they have the nightlife down there is kind of sick too. A lot of those
it's
people,
wild. They
yeah.
go crazy. They're not a
Oh yeah.
party their ass off.
So I also do photography. I don't know if Eric told you. And my main subject most of the time is people. Just nothing arranged, nothing set up. I walk out in the street with a camera, right? I've been doing it for years. So, I forgot where I was going with that. Fuck, what were we talking about?
We were talking about their parties and how they have wild
Right.
parties and
So
yeah.
somebody had because I guess somebody had liked my photography and the way that it looked. They were like, hey, look, if you're interested in actually I was the one looking for it, and I found somebody who threw these parties on Wall Street, and they're the type of parties where straps and naked women and people getting beat. It's one of those type of Andy Warhol ish type parties, right? That's what they told me. So immediately I was like, what? Because I've seen those Andy Warhol pictures throughout the years
Yeah.
from like the 70s. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking amazing. So I'm like, fuck yeah. So I asked him, where is it? Wall Street. I was like, what? Yeah. So, they have those type of parties out there too. Hey, look, if it's consenting adults, that's not saying that
Yeah.
anything is bad. It's just like,
Can
hey,
you
look, you
share
guys are.
some wild shit you saw? Like what did you see at those parties?
So I ended up not going. I didn't go. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm on Wall Street, right? At the time, I was just the 9/11 truth movement. Eric will tell you this kind of story too, because we were both in it together. It was, I think, Glenn,
Mm,
who you've interviewed before.
yeah, yeah.
It's mainly me, him. I like how you're laughing. It was
Yeah,
me, Glenn.
I like him. I like him a lot. That's why
Yeah, that's my dude.
he thinks outside of a certain prism that I think most people are usually thinking.
Me and
And
him. Yeah. Yeah.
he's really given me um a new sense on how I look at things when it comes to work.
Work, you said?
And work, yeah, like in
Okay.
terms of making a living, and I told him what that was, but I'm sorry, I want to hear what you were talking about. I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I want to hear what you were saying.
I kind of want to hear what you were gonna say too. But go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me what you're gonna say.
So he was talking about jobs and how some of these jobs that most Americans work, their day-to-day jobs, he used a phrase or a word that really stuck with me. I think it was like they're not that they're senseless job. They're soulless jobs. I think where they really provide not a lot of like internal value to you. Where you're like when you go into work, you're not really that happy, and it's not
Yeah.
as meaningful. So that sparked something in me, and it made me realize, okay, like what I'm doing in life in terms of like my day job, is that really what I'm passionate about?
Absolutely not.
And I said no, I really wasn't. So I'm in that phase of my life right now where I'm looking to change industries, really figuring out what am I passionate about, where I could make a living and then kind of figure this
Yeah.
situation out here. Because this is what I really love. I love talking to people. I love engage, engaging in conversations and learning how is the other person's thinking? How do they see certain viewpoints?
Yeah.
Um, and
It's
just
good.
more so learning shit from people, but also like not educating, but like uh, um, providing value to people that may be listening on more relevant topics, like the one big beautiful bill that we were just talking about, for example, or like the
Right.
Elon and
Right.
Trump breakup, and
Right.
why that's happening. So
I mean,
Glenn he's a good person.
no, he's a great person. We all have our ways that we navigate through life, right? We can take pieces of philosophies from our friends and whatever works and sticks. That's how we keep things moving because bills got to get paid, right? No, there's no revolution starting. There's no podcast starting. There's nothing started if you don't got food in your belly. If you're not warm in the winter, So there's certain things that you got to set up to become stable, right?
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends, unfortunately, that as they got older, you see the stability in their lives crumble. You know what I'm saying? Before we were like this, and then as it starts becoming kind of like it's a sad thing, you know.
Yeah.
In
I
my
disagree with them on the 9/11 stuff personally.
Okay,
I've like tried to poke holes in his theories,
yeah,
and he'll get very fiery and feisty about it, and I understand why he does, because it's
that's
just
what he's
his work.
passionate about.
That's what he's passionate about.
Yeah,
It's his life's work, and I don't want to dismiss it. That's why I've had him on. I was happy to have him on because I do want people to think and see that, hey, there are people out there that think differently than you, and these are some of the
exactly.
things they believe. And just because they think that doesn't mean that, you guys can't still connect on a human level.
I
Um,
mean, I'm one of those
yeah,
people that thinks there's an overwhelming amount of evidence that 9/11 was an inside job or
okay,
set up foreign government involvement, but we don't even have to get into that. The thing is that you're right. There are people like us that believe that, and there are
yeah,
people that don't. And
yeah,
does that mean that we can't communicate?
right,
No, we should
right,
be
right,
having open dialogue constantly. I think that's a
right.
big thing. And you're probably propping yourself up as one of the forerunners of something that a lot of people are not willing to do, and that's having a legit conversation.
Yeah,
Because now, if you look anywhere, I don't give a fuck if it's Rogan, Beck, Glenn Beck, and they all have some sort of bias now. It seems, which is like unfair because before you were this, now you're that. and now it looks you grift here and there. How about everybody just be open in your opinions and not shit on the other person's opinion constantly, even if they are wrong. Even if they
Yeah.
are wrong. Somebody could tell me you know how many flat earthers I know?
I think that
Unfortunately,
number is just growing
is
every
it?
day. I think that number
Well,
is just growing every day, man.
in either case, I can't like disown them as a friend. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
they believe the earth is flat. Like fuck it,
I,
yo.
I have friends who do say shit like that, but I feel like they're kind of like doing it just to be a little funny and like a little
Okay.
edgy. And I'm like, whatever, man. I love you too much to like for us to like,
Oh
stop being
man.
friends.
Now I'll be like, explain
Um,
the filament to me. What is the filament? What is that again? All right. I gotta hear. I like hearing the dumb shit, man. It's entertaining.
yeah,
But
it
again, it's
is.
like, look, I'm not gonna sit there and be like, you're a fucking, fuck it, man.
I'm 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 a
I'm
free
not a
speech
religious person,
absolutist. That's what it is,
so
man. I'm a free speech absolutist. I think people should be able to say what they want. Um,
right,
and
right.
you know,
Believe what you want to.
without, yeah,
Believe what you
without
want.
without repercussions. Personally, that's what I believe.
If you believe that there's a pig in the cloud shitting rain on all of us right now, and you fucking beat off to it every night because that's your god, that's your you can do that. People could do that as long as you're
You
not
just
hurting
started a
another
new
person.
community.
I'm telling you, it's out there already.
You just
There's
started a new community
yeah, the pig
of
jerks,
believers.
the jerk pigs. So it's like, so everybody wants to hold on to I'm right, you're wrong, and as a matter of fact, you're so wrong. You shouldn't even be allowed to speak.
Yeah.
And this is like both sides, all sides is saying this now. Before it was like some people would stand behind the Constitution. Now people are just like fuck the Constitution, whatever. Like yo, bro, it's I don't know. I'm kind of going off into a little tangent, but you know what I'm saying.
I don't know what you're saying, but if you want to go on a tangent, dude, you can go off on a tangent. This is a long show. You can
All right.
say what you want. We're gonna be here for a minute. Um, so you're not a fan of Donald Trump.
No
Clearly that's from what it sounds like. And
history.
I'll tell you that, dude, I kind of, and I kind of, I am. I like him a lot, actually, and I like him for
Yeah,
many
Eric does too.
reasons. He does
Yep.
like him.
Yep.
Um, for me, I in 2016, I didn't like him, and I realized that I didn't. I asked myself like, what headspace was I in that made me not like him? And it's because, dude, I was following a narrative. It was like a sheep
Mm. That's a bad
mindset for
way.
me.
Yeah. Yes.
And I was in college, and I remember all these kids just crying about it in class and saying he's a bad man. Um, and and I was like, oh, if
Leftists.
this person is crying about it and they feel this affected by it, that must mean he is a bad person.
Right.
And
So is it
they
kind of
took
like a fuck
they
you
would
vote?
they would take sound bites of him and make him to make him be this bad evil person.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started listening to him, and this is
Made
where I think it's
sense.
important. This is where why I think this is why it's important to have people in your life that don't have the same opinion as you,
Absolutely.
uh, because I've had people in my life who didn't have that same opinion as I did at the time and said, Amir, just take a breath, just listen to him without, not in clips, just listen to him. And I
Mm-hmm.
started to do that. I was like, oh, that makes sense. He's not right. He's not wrong about this. Oh, I believe in that. Um, and so there was this kind of realizing what your values are,
Right.
and also not taking sound bites from other people and saying, "Oh yeah, do I agree with everything he says? Of course not.
Okay.
No one person agrees with anyone 100%. And then I started to channel some of my things that I learned when I was a kid. Like, dude, my dad was a huge Trumper. When I was a teenager, he would give me. He was just not a Trumper, just a fan of his.
Oh, okay.
Um,
This is before the
like
politics.
before politics, before Trump
Okay.
ever got involved in politics, and my dad gave me a book about him, and he was like, Amir, I want you to read this book, The Art of the Deal. And I
Yep, I
remember,
know about that book.
and I remember him talking. Even how you were talking about how he, I guess, you didn't say sexualizes women, but he, talks about
Yeah.
women a lot. Even in his book, he was talking about women, and he gave the example of the middle class being the waist of a woman, and is like over the decades, it's gone smaller and smaller and smaller. And I was like, oh, that stuck with me. That resonated with me, even at the time as a little boy. And in his book, he also talks about how his dad would take him with him to these buildings, these real estate buildings his dad had owned, and ask the people to collect rent and just manage them. And so my
Right.
father started doing the same thing. He would take me to buildings that he had managed and say,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to go knock on that door, uh, collect the rent, write them a receipt,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. So and then
So I can see why you like him if you applied it
yeah,
to your own life. Your father brought
I
that
did.
into your crib. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah.
I hear
And
you.
then it was funny then how my dad completely hated him after some time. And I think my dad hated him. I shouldn't say hate. He disliked him after I think he got into politics and he didn't agree with his political views, particularly in the Middle East. He didn't like that, and I could see why, because my dad has his own bias, and everybody has their bias.
Right.
Because my dad was Muslim, and he wanted him to do more for the Muslims. And
And you are not Muslim.
I, I was born a Muslim, but I'm not. I'm agnostic. So I don't. Yeah,
Okay, gotcha. How old
yeah.
were you when,
So
when you
so
were
so
first
so
introduced to Donald Trump, by the way?
similar to you, how you said you don't believe in, you're not religious. You said you're not religious. I'm not
Yeah,
religious either, but
I got you.
I respect religion in totality. I think it does more good than bad. When How old
Okay.
was I? I was
Religion doing good, more good than bad, huh?
thir 13, 14 at the time when I was
Okay,
introduced to Donald.
gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
What
okay.
about? I'm assuming you were from a younger age, even an earlier age, right? Because you said you're an '80s baby.
Yeah, yeah. I've known about him pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
So no, but that's good. I can see why seeing something from one of his books, your father applying that to his own life and it being successful for him. I could see
Yeah.
why that narrative would be nice for you, because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is the guy that made us successful. He gave us
Yeah.
a game plan, kind of, right?
And there's clips about, Donald Trump even now, like you see him in the 90s and 80s talking about how he would run for politics if he could and he
Oh,
would
I
make
remember that.
changes. Yeah.
Oh boy, I remember that.
So yeah, it's
Clouded
always
in
funny.
controversy,
Like
by the way. He was
people, I
at the
think people,
time. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I was going to say people like to put people in boxes. So like if you're a investment banker, they just want you to be an investment banker. If you're a podcaster, they just want you to be a podcaster. If you're
Right.
a businessman, they just want you, they don't want you to cross over. It's like, so I think when he crossed over, like everybody who liked him, everybody who he had dinners with and he funded campaigns for, they just said, "Fuck you. We don't like you anymore," because, like even like The View, like they've had him on
The
the show
View.
several times.
Please don't use these people as examples, man. They're like, I don't know how big their influence is on the United States as a whole, but the common man ain't watching The View, bro.
They're not.
You're not going out in the street and asking, "Hey, what were they talking about The View this morning?" Nah, nobody's,
It's a bunch
bro.
of yoga moms, I
You
think,
go into the
watching the
dentist
yeah.
or the fucking physician, and you might see it on the corner on the TV. Aside from that, yeah, it's like what you say, yoga moms. Yeah, well, yoga gets a bad rap, bro. Yoga gets a
Oh,
bad
dude,
raps. It's really good for you.
it's great for you. I tried
Yeah, man.
anxiety yoga for the first time the other day, and what I
Okay.
realized, I was like, anxiety yoga. What? It just sounded interesting, so I took the class, and it was interesting. Like, at the end of the class, I realized my body was just telling me that it's tired. Like you need to sleep and you need to rest. And so when I got back home, I just took like a 12-hour nap.
You see that?
So
Nah, bro.
yoga's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
I mean, according to what the yogis say, I think that's what they're called. They when you take these positions, you release a lot of things um from your body, like some certain spots that haven't ever been like ever stretched ever are being stretched for the first time. So you might remember some shit from 20 years ago that was stuck in some sort of tense part of your body, even your neck or whatever, because these are all parts of what makes you you. You might start
Yeah.
feeling better immediately, which is a usual response. Once you start releasing all
Yeah.
this tension, you come home, you take a nice shower, you eat something, you're like, holy shit, I feel like a fucking superhero right now. You know, I think everybody should do some sort of, whether it's yoga or not, stretching, especially as you get older. You got to start stretching. Have
Yeah.
to. It's a must. You know, or swim or
I
something. Do some sort of exercise.
I used to never stretch, and I've just started incorporating it into my life a little more as I've gotten older, but I used to never ever stretch before my workouts.
Mm,
And I started to feel it as you, like you said, get older. Like your body starts to deteriorate.
right.
Um,
Wear and tear, it's just
yeah.
you constantly working something, and I feel like shit half the time. Sometimes I'll do yoga after training just
Mhm.
because my body is like, I know as soon as I get home, all of this is going to be stiff. This is going to be stiff. If I do at least a little bit of yoga just to loosen the muscles a little bit, my
Yeah.
recovery isn't as long. You know what I mean?
You ever taken Bikram yoga?
I heard about it. That's that dude, right? Wasn't he like having sex with
Yeah.
the girls?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's naked, right, or something like that. I don't
I
know.
don't he's I don't know if he's naked, but he's like he is like an almost like
Like a pimp.
just like an underwear. He just like has an underwear on and like
It's hilarious.
someone I know went to his seminar in California and got certified and met him
Really? Wow.
and yeah, and he was
Is it good? I
saying
don't know.
that
I don't know. Is it
it's good,
good?
like it's good. Yeah, it's he was saying it's great. He got certified to teach, and
Okay.
he was saying it's really great for you because it helps your body recover. And as you get older, if you get hurt, it avoids surgery. But it's tough as hell because it's 105 degrees.
Yeah,
You
it's hot.
practice
Hot
in
yoga.
yeah, it's like you practice at 105 degrees, and you're doing these you're moving your body in these weird positions that normally it just doesn't, but it takes time to which it takes time to do. But he was saying it was funny because the room was hot as hell and he was sitting with the fans on and the AC on right over him and everybody was sweating their balls off.
Oh, he's lucky.
So, but
He's
yeah,
lucky.
and he was definitely was nailing a few women. I think there were some allegations that came out against him, but I don't know. I gotta watch the Netflix series. Um,
There's a Netflix
on
series.
oh, yeah, there's Netflix series or documentary on him
Oh my
and
God.
some of the women coming forward about
Wow.
him. Yeah.
Well, the other
You know
day I
what?
saw TMZ is doing a 9/11 documentary. I can't believe the world that we are in right now. What in the fucking hell? TMZ
Yeah, dude,
9/11 documentary.
I saw a little video on that. I was scrolling through TikTok and the head of uh TMZ guy said, breaking news, we've got a video coming out that's
Footage.
gonna
Yeah,
blow
yeah.
your mind. Yeah, we're gonna blow your mind. And I was like, dude, if I need anything for 9/11, I'm going to my boy Glenn, okay?
Yeah, exactly. He's got several books about it. You don't need to go to TMZ for that.
Right.
But no, Mr. Zarmanov, I've known that dude for a very long time. He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
We've been on the streets before it was cool to even mention 9/11, where
Yeah.
everybody was aggressive towards you, where everyone yelled, some people threw shit.
Yeah.
We were out there. So I will always look at him as a brother, a comrade. Eric too. We don't agree, like you're saying before. We don't agree on a lot. Actually, we probably agree on most things, but there's a lot of things that we don't agree on.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's not going to be my boy if he needs me.
Right.
When Eric is doing the clothing drives, one of the first people that shows up with bags and bags of it's because I go to my community and ask them if they have stuff to donate. But I ask him, I'm
Yeah.
always there, no matter what, because that's who I am. That's how we are. You know, through thick and thin, if we have disagreements, fuck it. But the
Yeah.
goal, prosperity, peace, love, that will never stop. And we will always
Yeah.
continue to be in that form. We may have varying ways to get there, but at the end of the day, you know, that's what I believe. But that's like,
I snagged one of those things, that bench I had back there. I don't know if you could
oh
see it,
yeah,
but one of the with
oh I
that
think I
bench all
do
the way
see it.
back underneath
Yeah,
the stairs. I snagged that from the giveaway. It's
some
just
good
it's
stuff
like
there, man.
yeah, you walk in and you sit down, you want to sit, take your shoes off. I was like, this is perfect in the house.
They'll feed you too. The other day they had like gallons of orange juice and muffins, and I think they had
Yeah.
vegetables as well. So we're getting a lot of good community reaction because they all want to help, which is fucking amazing. That's how you
Yeah.
create change right there.
Yeah.
When somebody sees you doing good, and immediately by watching you, they're like, you know what? I got a closet full of old shit that's been sitting there for 5 years.
Yeah.
Let me make an effort to do something good. If they don't want to bring it themselves, you can reach out to me. Boom, boom. I'll bring it for you. I'll go to your crib and pick it up. But like, that is how I believe real change. Like I fuck up, man. I'm late to here. You know what I'm saying? My bad. Life, fucking crazy shit. I fuck up, but we all do. And I believe, even as you're sitting here, and like I said, you're probably one of the forerunners right now that I know kind of personally now that's really uh, throwing himself in the front of, hey, look, we need to have conversation more than an argument.
Yeah.
We got to, I don't know, man. Again, I don't,
I've always been interested by politics, man, and
yeah,
because it to me it's a battle of ideas and theories and dialogue. I just wish that it was the tensions were toned down is what I wish, but I feel like we're in this phase of life where the tensions are so high that,
yeah,
like it's the storm before the calm. So so I just feel like we're in that transition period where people were so unhappy for so long that now there's this change that's happening. Some may call it radical change. That yes, there's a lot of noise out there, and it's going to eventually calm down. So that's the period that I think we're in politically. Personally, that's what I believe.
I hope, man, because let me tell you something. I go to these events. I've gone to the leftist events. I've gone to the Republican events. It's a shit show. It's
Mm,
a shit show. There are always someone who is like Eric and yourself, I would say, probably regular Trump support. And this could go for the leftists too. There's some crazy Biden supporters, crazy Kamala Harris supporters. There's some crazy ass Trump supporters too. That their goal really, from my opinion, isn't
mm.
to promote Donald Trump. It's to cause a scene. It's to be loud. It's to make it a ruckus. And this happens on both political sides. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
it
It's
does.
like,
It absolutely
you know,
does.
I know regular people that, yeah, it's just I don't know what it is. We could start going into conspiracy theories. These people are paid to be there.
No,
People
that's not
believe
a dude. That's
that.
not a conspiracy. That's an
I
actual
know.
thing. I was
Yeah,
just gonna say I saw a video the other day about some people outside of Diddy's trial being paid $20 an
I
hour
saw that
to
too.
wear a shirt saying "Free Diddy." Like what?
Yeah, and he's talking about that he got paid, right? He's talking about it. The guy. Yeah,
Yeah. Like, yeah, I think that the lady was like, yeah, they try to recruit me they said it, we'll give you $20 an hour if you wear the shirt and stand here. And you see one of the guys visibly like like he's on some shit. He's like completely in a different world. Like
yeah,
that's the people like they're just giving $20
yeah.
to. He's like leaning over like he's on crank.
So it does happen. There you go. See,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
these there's so many conspiracy theories being proven true these days. I don't know which one's which, bro. You know,
yeah.
because before, if we would have said that, they would have called us crazy. What do you mean paid protesters? What the fuck? You guys are out of your minds. Until one
Right.
tells you, hey, look, I got paid for this. Or
Yeah.
one time I'm in Times Square. This was like maybe 7, 8 months ago. I was just walking around. All of a sudden, I run into a huge pro-Palestinian protest. Like
Yeah.
most of Times Square is filled, and then the counter protest. Right. So I'm going back and forth, taking pictures. Boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, I'm looking at the Israeli side. I'm on the Israeli side at this point. The cops. So there's big barricade, millions of cops in between us, and then the Palestinian side over there. So I'm over here taking pictures on the Israeli side, and to my left, I see like 5 black women holding an Israeli flag, a big one, right?
Hmm.
I'm just looking because there are black Israelis. I'm looking around there, but these in particular look weird, right? So I'm like, what the fuck? We're in public. I'm taking pictures. You're at an event. It's not like I'm walking up to a stranger, like I sometimes do. It's you're there to be loud and say you're proud for whatever you're standing up for. So I'm gonna take your picture. As I'm taking her picture, I see that she's trying to hide the flag, like her face behind the flag, and I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. So I was like, yo, like I won't take your picture. I thought you were like part of them. And she's like, no, 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 I'm getting paid for this. I'm getting paid for this. That's what the lady told me. And I was like, oh
Wow.
shit, okay. And I just went about my. Oh, well, there was a fight. Then a fight happened right after that. But people are paid. It's not a conspiracy theory. I'm glad that you at least, because if I would have said it, I feel like nobody would have fucking believed me. But you
No,
said
no,
it,
no,
so
no.
there you
It's
go.
DJ. I think I might have sent you this clip too, man. See,
Yeah,
can you
DJ,
see if you
post
can
it,
find
man.
the see if you could pull this video up. I might have sent it to you like a week ago, DJ. I said so I just send my producer like random shit that I find interesting, and then I'm like, yo, this is bizarre. Like, how is this happening? And how is no one talking about this? So I just I just sent it to him, and DJ, if you can find it, that'll be dope. But it's
It's
literally
true.
outside the court. It's literally outside the courtroom, uh, of Diddy's
Yeah.
sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy and
Which apparently he didn't
case.
do. They're saying that he's just a sick,
Dude,
freaky guy, but he didn't do anything illegal.
isn't it funny like how everybody forgot about his trial after this Trump and Elon
I know, right?
and then breakup? Like people are like, oh, what happened? What happened to
People are
Diddy?
fickle, bro. What do you expect? That's what people are. They just want the TikTok reel, and then we're off to the next. You know what I'm saying? But the media makes it that way too. The media wants you to forget these things.
DJ, can we start that from the jump and then just
This is
turn the
great. This is
volume up
great,
on
by the
that?
way. This is fun.
Why do you feel that way?
So these are all paid protesters. You can get $20 an hour if you wear a T-shirt.
You gotta speak up. You gotta
She just got
Look at that guy. Look at
recruited,
that guy
right?
leaning over.
I refuse. You said no. It wasn't worth the money.
No, but like he told me that it's for a Diddy coin, so I'm not really sure what that is. Yeah.
What did she say?
Yeah, they just tried to.
Stop. I knew. I could tell because
The lady right there, she just to go wear a shirt, and I'm like, I'm good.
that's what. So just $20, and if you guys were, if you need $20, all you have to do is wear a free puff shirt.
They just stand out here.
And you said no.
Yeah, I said no.
Did they say how many hours?
$20 an hour. And she told me she got paid like $60 yesterday for standing out here in 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
DJ,
Why do you feel that way?
Did she say that she didn't know who Diddy was?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if that's what she said, but BJ's
Okay,
got some internet issues with the video just laggy as shit.
that's fine. But yeah, I swear I'm gonna watch that myself on the side. But
Okay,
I
I'll
could
send
have
it to you if anything.
yeah, yeah, because I could have swore she said somebody told her that all she has to do is do this for the Diddy trial. She doesn't know who that is. If
Hmm.
that's what she said, I don't believe that for a second.
Hmm.
Then the whole shit is suspect to me.
What do you think about the Diddy trial? What do you make of the
So,
sex trafficking, the racketeering
look,
conspiracy,
man, some of us
uh
I've been listening to hip hop forever, and some of us
transporting
knew.
to exchange prostitution?
So I haven't seen proof of that. It could be possible, right? That could
Hmm.
be true. You got to show it to me though. I haven't seen in my
You
personal
want to see
eyes.
Cassie get pissed on?
Hell no. If she's into it, that's her business, right? Is that
Give
illegal?
me all the golden
Is
showers.
it is it illegal?
No, it's not. No, 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 no.
That's
That's
all I'm
not
saying.
having sex with exactly. And that's, dude, that's what exactly. I think he's gonna get away with all of it. Personally, that's what I believe. If anything, I
Consensual
think it'll
adults.
be,
That's
yeah,
consensual adults, right?
yeah, yeah. And the defendant, from what I saw, the defendant, or the defense in this case, Diddy, they haven't even gone up to make their case. Like, he's obviously not a good guy. That's not what I'm saying. Like, he's not a good person. Um, but
Right.
like that, like if
He's not a
it's
criminal.
if it's consensual and they're and she, and from what they're they're poking holes in her theories, Cassie's theories is like, yeah, look, she was the one who was inviting all these male prostitutes and escorts
She
to
was fucking
come,
him.
and yeah, and telling her like, oh, you're gonna do this to me and do that, and he's just gonna watch. So, and Diddy's obviously trying to say like, yeah, look, man, they're trying to get money out of me. So,
Bro.
again, I
The,
don't think he's obviously not a good guy. That's not what I definitely believe that in my heart of hearts. Uh, but I also think that he's gonna get away with it
once they
personally.
started talking about the dude would ejaculate on her, is she would bring the ejaculation to him so he could rub it on his nipples. I was like, why are we even?
What?
Yeah, bro.
I'm not.
He
I
would
did
rub
not see that.
the nut of another man that just banged this girl on himself on his nipples, and she talked about it. So I don't even know why I know that, but there was a really good breakdown on
Yeah.
this podcast. Another one, I'll send it to you later. Where there's a
Okay.
dude that he's actually in the courtroom. He has a seat, and he pretty much breaks down every single week of
Yeah.
the trial, which is pretty good. I'll send it to you later. But yeah,
Okay.
he's a sick fuck. But can we say he's like a pedophile trafficking people? Not yet, at least from the evidence
Yeah.
that I've seen. If he
Right.
if he did do that shit, fucking lock him up forever. I've always
Right,
hated Puff,
right.
but I never thought. See, remember what I said before? We got to sometimes pick and choose what type of scumbag you have in your life. I never thought. I thought Puff Daddy was that asshole that was always dancing up in the videos, kind of like Suge Knight said. I loved
Yeah.
Biggie. I kind of loved Bad Boy, but he was annoying as fuck. Did I think he was the type of scumbag also to be sex trafficking? I never thought that. But if he is, fuck him. You know what I mean?
Hey, like LeBron said, ain't no party like a Diddy party.
That's another one. This guy's taking flops, not even getting a hit in the games and shit. Let me just, oh man, fucking
Yeah.
LeBron, bro.
I,
I don't know.
I love LeBron. I love LeBron too much. I love everything about his game and his career and his legacy.
So do I. So do
Um,
I. He's funny
yeah,
though. He's a funny guy.
yeah. Like
But
I don't
I
like the
love him. Yeah.
flopping shit, the diva shit and all that. I
Yeah.
don't like it, and everybody who watches basketball does not like that stuff. And
Yeah.
there was a video of him recently. Well, not recently, but when they were in the playoffs, he gets hit and he's on the ground and he's got his
Yeah. I saw that.
hands on his eye and he's like looking at the ref like
Yeah.
is looking
Blatantly.
at
And
me.
there's a camera right in his face looking at him like, dude, what are you doing? Greatest. Look, I still think LeBron James is probably the best basketball player of all time.
I disagree with that, but okay.
I believe that you put him in with a lot of people disagree with me on that. I think he's too big than most people, and I'm talking about if rules were different, like if it was like basketball from the '90s, maybe early 2000s, then it's a different
Mhm.
story. But if we have the current rule set, LeBron's smoking everybody, all of them.
I think MJ would smoke everybody. I think he would drop 50 if these if he played in the rules that he was playing with the 90s. Oh my God. Touch foul,
I
no
think
hand checking.
I think Curry would smoke MJ right now. Forget about LeBron,
Oh my God.
and I think
We're gonna
LeBron's
clip
better than
that.
Curry.
We're gonna
Yeah,
clip that.
do it, Curry, Stephen Curry.
I like Steph too. I think he's the best point guard we've ever seen.
Dude,
Ever. That I will absolutely agree with.
he doesn't even need to be
Mm,
near the net.
yeah.
He could
He's
just
changed
let.
the game of basketball.
Absolutely, absolutely. LeBron
Yeah.
has too. I think. I think LeBron
Yeah.
has too. He's a big dude, man. That's people. Some people forget.
Yeah.
LeBron's like a linebacker.
6'8", 250 pounds.
Yep.
My
Flying through the air
goodness.
at you. You're just like, holy shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I don't know. Patrick Ewing was a big dude too.
Dude, going back to this Diddy stuff here, I'm just looking at some of my notes here and like how this
Yeah.
um so do you think he's gonna get away with it, or do you think he's gonna be found guilty? I know it's coming to somewhat of an end on the trial with him in about 2 weeks or so.
I think it's been too long, man. People, if they would have found something solid, I feel like we would all know about it. It'd be all over the tabloids. Oh, they found skulls of a Cambodian baby in his toilet. Like we would have found something. At this point, it just seems like speculation over and then Cassie, like you were saying before, like through the Cassie trial, it seems like she was down with all of it. So
Yeah.
what's the problem, really? Okay, we got some video of him fucking her up. That's terrible. Like he deserves a beating beyond belief for that. I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think that was cool
Did
at
you
all.
did you did you see the full video though?
No. What the fuck, bro?
She goes back to the room with him after he beats the shit out of her.
Well, there you go.
So it looks like, and I
Look,
think that's
there's
another
yeah,
hole in the theory that people are gonna make.
yeah.
Look, it's consensual. She willingly went back into the room with him. Now, of course, we could go into men who abuse women and all that.
We could also go
And
into
what the,
some women liking that.
yeah, yeah, and right,
Let's not
exactly.
let's be
That's
real
that's
here,
it.
guys.
That's a gray area. That's a gray
Yeah.
right. So it's like, it's like, but look the video evidence. She after he beat her.
Right.
They talked it out. She went back into the room with him. That shows
Look,
consent.
there's also the fact that she could have been terrified for her life. We don't know, right?
Right, exactly.
We don't know.
Right.
This motherfucker is setting car bombs at dudes
Yeah,
that fuck with her. You think that she's
yeah,
just gonna walk? Obviously she was like, I don't
yeah.
want that to be my mother's car,
Right.
But we don't know. I'm just saying, we gotta. Do I think in the beginning? I think we all saw Cassie as a victim, so it was immediately fuck Diddy
Yeah.
until the trial. And
Yeah.
then we find out that she was down with the whole thing. She's grabbing people. She's the one doing the things in front of him, bringing nut to him so he could rub it on his nipples. It's
Oh
fucking,
my God.
you know what I mean? Then it's like, okay, this
What do you
whole
even
thing has
carry that
changed.
in?
I think, I don't know, man. But there's a really good breakdown of the entire trial. The first week was Cassie. Right now they're going with Capricorn. Do you know what Capricorn is?
Capricorn was his assistant, right? Or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
One of his assistants.
I think that just ended. I
Yeah.
think that the week of that just ended. But
Yeah.
again, I try not to pay too much attention to that, man. I mean, it's happening. Obviously, we'll look at it. Okay, do I care? On the top 10 list of things in my life that I care about right now, the Diddy trial's not even on it. You know what I mean? But
So
it's entertaining, I guess.
you said top 10. What's the number one?
My
What's
family,
on number?
my
That's a
family.
good
I,
answer.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. I
That's
hope
the
that's for
best answer.
everybody.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the best answer. Absolutely.
yeah. Money. By the way, money is on lowest on that list. Money is just to prop up other things. Like you were saying before, how your job isn't your passion.
Yeah.
And real quick on my situation with how you were talking about how Glenn was talking about with that. I love my job, right? I love my job not only because I'm good at it, right? The team is cool and everything like that, but it's the stability I was talking about before that supports every other endeavor in my life. Whether it's
Yeah.
going out to photograph my friends, whether it's to do events with Eric, whether it's to make donations with Eric, whether it's to travel with the group to go do events other places, and
Yeah.
it's all because of this. But it's never been my passion. I would never like jump in front of a bullet for my boss, though I love her. I love my boss. She's fucking amazing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you know what? I would jump. You know what, Alicia? If you ever see this, I would jump in front of a fucking bullet for you. But that's because we got, just like you were saying before, some people aren't able to make the distinction between common conversation and work.
Yeah.
She can. So I've gotten to know her. So in that way, it's a little bit different. But you get what I'm saying, man. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's just you know,
It's the I guess some people call it the rat race that
yeah.
we're always in. And I think one
I
of
know
the
a lot of
things.
artists. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, brother. I don't mean to
No,
cut
no,
you
no,
off, man.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. You know a lot of artists.
I know a lot of artists, and unfortunately, suffer. I don't want to say it's a choice that they suffer, but they didn't properly prepare themselves, right? So now they're struggling, and it pains me, right? It pains me because those are my friends, and I don't want to be like, maybe you should try walking to UPS real quick. They got unions. You get the part-time work is not bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Costco's hiring in the stores. Like I can always, I try to be, and I feel like Eric is kind of the same way. If anybody ever comes to us with an issue, immediately we will try to have a solution for you immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of artists, not all of them, they haven't gotten, unless they're being funded, right? Which is awesome. When you get grants, hey, look, if you deserve it, fucking hell yeah. But one thing that pains me, especially in artist communities, is that there's so many that they never, even if they're the greatest artists, they never sent some sort of stability for them to survive while they do the art. And I've seen them all, people better than me in every art that I've ever gotten into. I've seen them all just crash. And it's like, dude, if you would have worked at the fucking convenience store for 2 months, man, you could have been straight. You could have been straight. But I can't be telling, like, I'm not your father. I'm not your, fat brother. I try to be as good as a friend as I can be. But like, yo, it's something that just, it's been happening recently. I don't know how we even got to this, but it's just something that's been happening recently.
No, no, you're making a good point. You're talking about like how there should be they shouldn't realize and put a safety net in place in case,
That's what I'm saying.
this does not that it you don't want to say it doesn't work out, but just have a safety net so you could, you know, you said have food in your belly and thrive and go about your day and then focus on your art when you can. But I think some people do you think they just get lost in it because they love it so much? It's a passion for them that that's all they want to do is just do that thing, which is
Yeah, of
make art.
course. Of course. And I feel like if we had, I personally, I think that we should have a society where that is held up with much more importance than it is now. Art and artists, that's my belief. But right now, we're not in a society that's pro expression. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like scolding people, but we have to face facts sometimes. If you need to go to the store to buy some food, you have to have a little piece of paper with some fucked up presidents on it to get the food. That is the facts. The way that you can get that without, hopefully without doing anything retarded, go help the little old lady down the block. You don't have to even have to get a job. Why don't you go help these people sweep real quick, make $50?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just something that I know people just like what you were saying. All they can do is art. That's why maybe you need a friend. Hey, look, I want to work on this so much, but I'm having problem financing myself. Can you help me brainstorm ideas? Of course I could. Bro, let's do a show. Sell each one 400 a piece, right? Or something along those times. I'm just tired of seeing artists fall. And this is, I'm just talking shit. Honestly, this is just how I think it should. There's probably a million solutions, but art is such an important thing, I think, to humanity. And when I see my friends, and it's crazy because this just recently happened, I'm seeing it more, as the years go on. We have to either help each other out or just like I don't know, man. I really don't even know the solution. This is just my thoughts on it. I know a lot of people who are in warehouses right now, working 24/7, doing their art, and then homeless right after that because there was no income. There was no stability. They didn't like the art. Maybe the people didn't like the art. You know what I mean? And you spent all these months on it, and everybody was like, "I'm good." And now you don't have any dough. And now it's like, fuck. It's just
Yeah.
I don't
Similar
ranting
to,
about
I think what
artists.
I think it's similar to what you were saying about how, you're an artist yourself and you're into photography, but you have a job to support your passion and your art. Um, that provides you stability and a safety net, right? For
Yeah,
you to live the life that you're living. And that's all you're advocating for. I mean,
that's it.
that's a very common sense thing, I think. I
That's
don't
all
think
I'm saying. I feel like people
that's a
would
very
take that wrong, though, right? They would take that wrong, right? Some people would probably take that
I
wrong.
I hope they don't take it wrong.
Okay.
I know that I wouldn't take it wrong if that's what you were trying to tell me, and I
If
think
you were my boy and I see you painting, bro, and I see you struggling,
yeah,
I'm gonna be like, hey, look, man, let's go down to the fucking job spot real quick. Get a
yeah,
part, do 4 hours out of the day, do some part-time shit. You be
yeah,
just for a little bit before your art takes off. But
right,
like, you can't stress that out for 20 years. You
yeah,
can't. Then it's like fucking sad. And I hate it because they're so talented. And it's like, dude, I want to shake you up or I want to help you. But
yeah,
again, I'm not even saying like that's the solution or it's just frustrating for me because these are my people.
yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I have people in my life that are like that, where they're so talented and they're so gifted, and if it's expression or art or some sort of medium, whatever it is, expression medium, but they don't know how to support that passion because um, they don't have the means to do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, maybe you could get started doing something, get the ball rolling,
Anything.
to
Yes.
and then I just, honestly, just for me, I just go back to, okay, well, maybe then you're just not that passionate about it. Maybe you just don't really want it that bad. Maybe you don't really
Yeah.
want to do this art or whatever,
Are you
this
bullshitting?
expression of yeah,
You
yeah.
bullshitting.
So, and maybe that's that. Maybe then I think that's the harsh reality of it, where they may say that I'm an asshole and I sound like an asshole. Then, but maybe but that's just the way I think of it, and that mindset comes from my upbringing. Like I was always taught, like, if you want something, you you work for it, and then you go get it.
Right.
Um, yeah,
No, that's same upbringing here.
yeah,
And the main source of your income may not be the one you always wanted, the one that you grow up thinking you were gonna have. But guess what? Look, shout out to my mother. Okay. In like the 90s, she bought me an old at the time it was new, compact Presario PC, right? She put it in the kitchen.
mhm,
Sorry, mom, but she like probably used it twice because I was on that motherfucker every single day. I had the 56K modem, so nobody could use the phone. And I somehow drilled this into my brain at a young age. Fast forward to now, I'm working in computer field, but that's not. I was just good at it. I'm just good at I'm a tinkerer, really. I'm not even gonna say I'm good at computers. I'm good at tinkering, and I can figure things out. That's like a talent. So I
Yeah.
use that in technology, and that's how I got to where I am now. I feel like I'm talking shit, bro. I feel like I'm talking shit, but that's my story. The reason
Mm,
why is because I latched onto something that I was good at. I I went balls deep into it for a little bit, got some sort of stability through the income, and now people don't
yeah.
even know what I do as my main job. They think I'm just a photographer, graffiti dude, hip hop dude. They think I'm all these other things, but they don't understand. I'm also a father. I got a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I have this house that
Right.
I'm struggling with because Jersey's fucking property taxes is out, out the ass. But this is only a small part of who I am. My work life is a very small chunk of the person that I am. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on, but I need that. I need that small part of myself to help out with the other parts of yourself, right? You got to be whole. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you're a photographer. What do you do in terms of like with your art, your photography? Do you do mainly corporate events like you were saying, or
No,
is it more individual art? Do you just walk up to people and give them a disposable camera and say, "Hey, take photos and send them back to me, and I'll make a reel out of it," like that guy was doing at one point? Is that you? Are you doing that stuff?
I remember that. No, but I know what you're talking about though. I so I'm a documentarian. So the most simplest of terms, in the most simplest of words, I really just walk around with the camera and try to capture regular life, right? The changes that have been happening in Jersey City for the past like couple of years was is probably like number one on my plate, especially with the artist
Mm,
community that I mentioned before, because I'm following them around a lot and I'm documenting their processes. Right. I it's not the project I'm working on with them really isn't about the finished product. I want to take a picture of you working on it. Right.
hmm.
So that's just one of the changes that I work on through my photography. But for the most part, no setup, no flash. I shoot film, so I don't even shoot digital. I developed a film here at home, scan it and upload it. I also scan and develop for some of my friends. But yeah, it's street. Most people use the term street photography. It's a broad term though, right? Because sometimes I'm not on the streets. So it's sometimes I'm not doing street photography. Maybe I'm in the park.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's primarily what I'm
Can I ask you, what do
photographing.
you
Most
like?
of it has
What do
people in
what do
it
you
as
like
well.
about it?
Man, I love it. I grew up reading a lot of history books and comic books. I was a big comic book guy. So those frames that were drawn in comic books or even in like movies and history books, National Geographic, you would see like all these fucking amazing photos. And it told the story of history, right? History could be look, we're already the 5 minutes when we started this interview, it's already in history. You know what I'm saying? So history doesn't have to be so ancient. It could be 5 minutes ago. You captured that. Oh shit. You know what I mean? So my main thing, and I know that sounds kind of corny, but my main thing is I want to capture the world as it is now. And I'm probably saying the same thing many other photographers say. I want to capture the way the world is now, specifically and especially my friends and family members, people who are around me. And then
Uh,
when they forget 10, 12 years from now, we're all old and tired. And I drop that book and they're going to be like, holy shit. That's why I'm doing it, man. That's why I'm doing the artist one. But even the stuff I'm doing in just walking around the streets in New Jersey, New York, Boston, I took a couple of trips to Georgia. It's all in preparation for years from now. I dropped some pictures on Instagram, but the main goal of it is to kind of do a big project later on. That's why I like it because I want to see how people's reactions are years later. I like that. It makes me feel good.
Do you ever react to your own art, like let's say 5, 10 years down the line? So, for example, I'm assuming you've been shooting for a very long time, taking photos for a long time. Do you then go back and look at that work and say, "Oh my God, like
Oh yeah,
this is crazy. Like I've never remember this. Was it like, yeah,
oh yeah.
it changes?
And it could be good or bad. The reaction could be good or bad. I could be like, holy
Is it
shit, this is
what
fucking
is it
terrible.
usually? So I watch some of my work back, and it helps me pretty much get better in the future just by looking back at your work and watching
Yeah,
yourself back on film and saying, did I fucking say that? Why did I say something like that? Oh, I could have said it like this. Do you ever like reflect back on
absolutely.
your work?
Look, I think every artist or anybody who does, I think there's the term art doesn't just have to mean photos, painting, and stuff like that. People can make art an artistic desk, like just anything, any project related things is like kind of like an art form. So
Yeah.
as art forms go, we progress and evolve from years ago to the people that we are now. So sometimes it's kind of like it's a twofer. Like I'll see a picture, I'll be like, holy shit, I gotta print this one out and sell it. Or I gotta, show it to my boy Grant. But other times it's like, holy shit, I gotta delete this off the internet. This is embarrassing. So I gotta like, you know, because early on with film photography, I don't want to get too into the film photography, but uh since I work in computers, right? And I think we all know being attached to technology is a little like at all times 24/7 is a bad thing, right? We're on a screen right now, that's cool. But imagine you have to work in computers as well after this. Then at night when you're trying to go to sleep, you're on your phone, which is just another
Yeah.
computer. So
Right.
that kind of made me dive into film because it was like I can't be editing as much on the computer after all that too. Like at least I'm going out to take the pictures, so I'm out doing stuff. I'm not in front of a screen, even though it's a screen on the camera too. But then I have to sit in front of a computer for like hours after that.
Mhm.
And so that's why I mostly do film, even though I do some edits on the computer for film as well, but not as much as digital. But
You dread editing?
hell yeah. Which that's why film is kind of cool, man. Because each stock has its own style. As long as you don't fuck with it too much. Some people do color corrections and stuff, which is fine too. I'm not trying to shit on nobody's art. Hey, dude, you. As long as you like the photo and it looks good. But with film, it's not as bad, right? Because I'll scan it, I'll look at it real quick, maybe some light sharpening here and there, no cropping because I don't really crop too much, and that's pretty much it.
What's the difference between film and the art that you were talking about earlier? Is I guess what you're saying one is photos and the other one's like a film where it's a video film is
No, no, no. So, there's two. I don't know if you remember. How old are you now?
I'm 29. I
Okay,
know nothing about film and
okay.
any of that stuff. And I also hate editing, which is why I have
No,
an editor who edits my
I'm with you.
my
I'm
stuff.
with you,
Yeah.
bro. I'm with you. That man, God bless you. You got an editor. That's amazing. So film photography was before we film photography was pictures. Damn, where is my camera, bro? I will show it to you right now. Your pop's got one. If ask your father. I'm pretty sure your family member has an old film camera around. It's
Mhm.
pretty much you get a roll of film,
Oh,
put it
okay,
into a
okay. The roll.
camera. Bro,
Yeah.
I swear I got a roll of film like right here somewhere. But so you shoot the photos, 28 or to 24 photos on a roll each. Then you have to put it into either take it to like a B&H or something Adorama in New York, and they'll
Okay.
develop it for you, or you could do it at home.
Yeah, what
You
is it? What are those rooms? Yeah, what are those rooms called where you develop the film?
black room, the dark room,
Yeah.
the dark room. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the dark
How do
room
you
is
develop?
used.
Yeah.
So the dark room
How do
is
you
the dark room is used for two things. One is to take the film out of the canister, put it into
Okay.
a reel. You put it there, then you go and develop it in the chemicals. You take it out, and then after that, you use the dark room to make prints. You can either here. Hold on, let me grab one. You can either scan the film at that point and print it out digitally, or you can use something called a printer, an enlarger. I mean, it's called an enlarger. And basically, what you do in the darkness is you can superimpose. You take the little strip of film, you put it on light, and it imposes it onto a piece of paper. So,
Is
yeah,
that your work?
yeah. This is one of my photos. This is on Wall
That's
Street. Yeah, the dude was having a bad day.
yeah, he's got his suit. Is that his
Yeah, you
suitcase?
see,
And he's
yeah,
just
you see that tie?
oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's a,
that's it.
that's a cool photo though.
Thanks, brother.
You could capture a lot of emotions in that.
Yeah, so that's what it's all about. And another reason, let me put this over here. Another reason why I picked film photography, actually, photography as a whole is generally difficult, but film photography specifically is so difficult because if your settings aren't dialed into the film, you're fucked. In digital, you might have a little breathing room. You know what I mean? If you overexpose a little bit or underexpose a little bit in digital, in Lightroom or something, you might be able to save the photo. With film, it's not as much. you overexpose a little too much or underexpose a little too much, it's over. You could have the greatest picture in the world and it's fucksville. So I don't know. That kind of like sparked my fucking, my Spartan spirit. So I was like, you know what? I'm really gonna try to be one of those guys. And I've been shooting film ever since. I got digital cameras too, but primarily I shoot film.
Are you so you're still shooting film? Is your do you still work like in a similar aspect that you did many years ago where you walk around still capturing
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of natural
Mm-hmm.
um photos?
Currently,
Okay.
I'm working with a bunch of graffiti writers from the area. Some visiting from other countries and stuff. Um, no faces. It's all about capturing what they're doing. So yeah, I just walk around. I befriend some people too.
Yeah, I
And
feel like it's a pretty nice way to meet people too. Just
oh
kind of
yeah.
walking up to strangers and be like, "Hey, can I take a photo of you or
Mhm.
like of this thing?"
Or they see me there
Yeah.
more than once because I try not to be an asshole. Some people will just there's some photographers out there that'll put a flash on a camera and put it right in your face and take a picture of you on the street. Those are scumbag fucks. I'm not into it. Though
That
but I,
sounds like TMZ.
yeah, well, those are scumbag fucks too. But I'll tell you something. There's the photos though. It's fucking terrible. Like it's terrible for me to say this because the way the guy takes the photos is kind of iffy. But the photos are phenomenal. Fucking phenomenal.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like the pictures that he's taking of these people with the flash in their faces and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Even though
it
he's
comes
been
out
in amazing,
it comes out great, is what you're saying. Okay.
amazing, which is like fuck, but
It captures like their full reaction almost, right? Like
the
you can see
flash,
every
the way
detail.
it hits certain aspects of their face makes it look like they're giants in a city of. It looks insane. I'll send you. His name is Bruce Gilden. He's a nice guy, actually. I've seen him on the streets before.
Can we pull him up? DJ,
Yeah,
can we pull up
Bruce
can you
Gilden is his name.
Bruce Gill DJ, can we pull up Bruce Gilden?
Wait till you see this.
This is just on Google or is it on YouTube?
Yeah, both Instagram. He's famous. He's been shooting since. He's a much older guy now, but he's still out there. And everybody has their style of photography. It's just not one that I would do. And often he has clashes with people because of it. But I just can't deny the fact that some of those photos are like legendary, especially now, because he's been doing
Yeah.
it for decades. And yeah, it's amazing.
Bruce Gilden.
Yeah, Bruce Gilden, street photographer.
Why we wait for DJ to pull that up, dude? I'm just looking at the weather right now. It's so strange,
It
bro.
was raining.
It was now I'm looking outside. It's sunny and it's still raining, but
Yeah.
sun's completely out. Okay.
Yep. Yep. This is when he's in China. Yeah. So, this is his website. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can check his Instagram too. He's got an Instagram. Yeah, but this is the man, and not all of it is him doing that in people's faces, but a lot of it is. And look, this dude is a legend, man. He's a
That's
legend.
cool, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he goes,
That's capturing a lot.
yeah, internationally. He's a Magnum photographer. I'm not sure if you heard of Magnum.
No, I don't know. I know nothing about photography.
Yeah, they're the ones that people hire. Like if Trump needs something artistically done, he'll hire Magnum, and they'll send out their
Wow.
photographers.
Look at that. Exactly what you were saying about how it illuminates the person and makes like look at those two people.
Yeah,
They
man.
look so big
Yeah,
in
click
a
on that. I
city
think you could click on New
like
York
New
City.
York.
Click
Yeah.
on New York. Yeah, click on that. He's specifically known for his New York City photos, but like you know, the dude is
Look at the lady in the back. She's lurking.
yeah. See, look at that,
That's yeah.
and we don't even
And
know
he's
what
got
what
look at
year this was.
his pants are like up to his belly button. Oh my God.
So he's really good at finding what most would consider odd people on the streets. So he goes into these like that's an amazing photo, bro. Like I know those people were pissed probably after that.
So
They're
there's a
probably
flash right over their head,
so
is what you're saying? They
he
don't even
has
see it.
damn. I wish I make. All right, here I have a camera right here. So this is a digital one. The way that he shoots, is he'll take his photo. His is a film camera,
Hmm.
and there's something on the top here called a hot shoe, where you plug in you could either turn put a flash here. Like I don't know if you've seen like those crime photographers. They have or
Yes,
paparazzi.
yes,
They
yes, yeah,
have the
yeah,
flash
yeah, yeah,
here,
yeah.
but you can also
Goes
take it
poof,
off. You can also take it
and
off
hold it.
and hold it.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
he
I've
runs
seen
up to
that.
them
I've
like
seen that.
this, and he takes the
Yeah.
photo from up high, and then captures it with the camera, and
Okay.
that's how he gets that look.
And what is it called again?
This is street photography, pretty much.
No, no, no. What is that thing called that he
Uh
holds up?
it's a flash.
Okay.
I forget the cord. It's some sort of PC cord or something like that that plugs into the back of the flash, and that's how he takes all those photos. In that way. But not all of
Yeah.
his photography is like that. I don't mean like that dude is the man. Honestly, he's one of the inspirations. But the way that he takes the photos, you could find videos of it, just running up to people like that and blasting them in the face with the flash and the camera. It's like, bro, Everybody's Street. There's a documentary where he's featured, and there's a part where you see him like get into a little bit of a tussle with a female. So yeah,
What is he, fist fighting people on the street?
no, he's not fist fighting people. Though he said he does make a comment like he would though. And man, I wish I had my camera here. He shoots this camera called a Leica, the Leica, and there's no electronics in the camera. It's kind of like a big piece of brass, and all the gears are perfectly refined. You got to get it cleaned up from time to time. But since it's just kind of like a solid block with no electronics and it shoots film,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
hitting somebody with that is like a brick, dude. So I'm pretty sure he probably wraps it around and just cracks somebody in the face with it. It'll be bad. But yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, is this live right now?
No, it's
Oh,
not live now.
okay. So it'll be uploaded later.
Hmm.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I watched the one with you and with Glenn, and man, that dude has not changed. Super passionate.
Yeah, he really was passionate. Um, I think a few people when they see him and speak to him, they might label him as like a recluse. Um,
Hmm.
and so I was just telling him like, dude, just make sure like you sit still and like you know that your camera is good because I don't want people like misconstruing you and saying things about you that when they don't even know you. So basically like how you present yourself on camera, just like be professional.
Right.
But of course, like just the way he is, he gets up, he gets up, he gets up in the middle of the
Uh
podcast. He's like, "I'm gonna get in some water."
yeah, I saw
He's
that.
like
Yep.
he's dropping plugs, in the middle of the show, and it's cool. It's that I don't mind that. It's cool. Uh,
He's like a
but
showman.
yeah, I met him many years ago, and he had the same like he had very strong opinions on a lot of things, and I've always appreciated that, and that's why I think I have strong opinions because of the people that I've been surrounded by my whole life have strong opinions.
Right.
Um, yeah,
There's nothing wrong with having
but
strong opinions, dude.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
That's a
I
good
agree.
thing. People should have the problem is when you use your strong opinions to inflict it upon somebody else or do some sort of harm to somebody else because you have such strong opinion. Like my opinion gives me the right to hurt you now. Like that's where it's fucking stupid. And I
Yeah,
feel like we see a lot of that too now. And not even it's not even just an American thing. It's kind of an international thing where people are so emboldened to their own opinion that it means I'm better than you, which is fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know where that's coming from, but I feel like people like you and I, Eric, Glenn, whether we get have the same opinions on things, we're still we have the same goal, right? We want our families to prosper. Oh yeah, here it is right here. Here it is. Here it is. Yeah, you see that? He holds it up. That's a little choppy, but yeah, that's this guy's on 56K right now. Yeah, see? I mean, I don't know if you can
Gee,
see it too well, but yeah. Yeah, maybe lower the quality. Yeah, look, she pushes him.
oh
See?
shit!
I'm basically what's known as.
Yeah, bro.
And when I was
Bruce
growing
Gilden,
up in
dude.
Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, I used to look out my second story window at the
Looked like he didn't give a shit.
vigorous or whatever street life down below, and I was hooked. Television had a lot to do, because
See, film
I
noir.
like film noir and I like shadows and I
See?
like to use flare
It's a lot
and I
of
like
black and
strong
white,
images.
no
Yeah, I
color
think I
in
think it's all
his.
black and white.
I
I
realized
think
I
so.
could really jump in people's face,
But he likes
Appreciate
those
it.
isolate them
very deep
because the
blacks
separate the
and like,
foreground.
I
But
like I kind of like that
I
too.
was
Yeah, the photo you had shown, that was a lot of that was all black and white, right?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
was just gonna ask, is there a certain reason why you like capturing photos in black and white rather than color?
For many reasons, man. I'm gonna try to not steal another photographer's quote by answering that it makes things simpler when everything is black and white. I don't know if that makes any sense. But, like when we see the world in colors regularly, so I think sometimes color blinds you in a weird way. Seeing the colors of everything somewhat blinds you because they have so much information coming at you at the same time. And I love color. It's not. I'm just trying to explain as best that I could. Sometimes when everything is just black and white, you
Hmm.
really see what's there. If everything, sometimes when everything is bright green and like it turns into kind of like a mess, depending on the photo. But it's really up to personal preference, to be honest with you. I like black and white. I've been shooting a lot of color actually, mostly color lately. But in the back of my mind, it's always like, damn, this photo would be so much better if I shot it in black and white. You know, just I don't know. It's I don't know. And black and white has kind of been the medium for most of the legends in the past, mostly because it's cheap and it's easy to develop. Black and white film just needs two chemicals and you're done. Um, Color needs three, and the times differ. It's a black and white is just an easier way for a photographer to go. Film photographer. If you're shooting digital, you could just hit because everything is in color when you're shooting digital. You can just click a button and make it black and white. You know what I mean?
I asked you that question because I've thought about turning this podcast into just black and white
That would be
because
sick,
exactly what you said. It just makes things simpler.
dude. Make it
Like
look
I
like film noir, like his photos, where it's like a cast of black behind you and the light just on your face. She would look sick.
yeah, I gotta work that out. I clearly haven't thought that far into it, but
Yeah.
yeah, like I've thought about maybe you should be black. I've had like I go through these like creative journeys into the podcast where like when I want to think about making adjustments because I've made a lot of adjustments and I like making adjustments because that's how you look back at your work and you say, okay, well this is working and this isn't working. Okay, well, I like this, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it's come a long way from where it was before.
Yeah.
I've even thought about like not showing the guest's face, but also like just kind of having almost like I was talking to like I was talking to someone as almost like they were dialing in, or just like covering their face. I don't know. Creative journey is
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what I could say.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. You want
but
to
I feel
stand
like
out. You want to stand out. Do something
yeah,
different.
yeah. You want right, exactly, and that's what it is. So, dude, let me ask you. I appreciate you coming on and spending time with me. Where can people find you and your work?
Jedi Lost One on Instagram, JEDI LOST number one. Um, yeah, that's probably the best place to find me. I'm mostly on there, just either talking crap in my stories or posting photos.
Okay.
Um, I
Do
did
you
so.
have a
There's
merchandise place that you sell your art at
no,
all?
no. I actually offer artists or even people in general, if they're ever working on projects, and they wouldn't mind having someone document it for them later in life, just hit me up. You know what I mean? If you're building a house, if you're working on a painting, if you guys are preparing a feast for an event, call me. All I ask is that you let me take photos. I'll even give you the photos for free. You can have them to do with what you will. But just know that in about 10 years or maybe 8 years, you know, there's going to be a book that I'm putting together documenting all these things. And I hope that you're happy that you're in it too. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'm trying to do something like that for the people.
Cool, man. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you again.
Amir, thank you.